What's the difference between aspects and tenses? Well, stick around and find out. Kumusta po kayo? Welcome back. Let's continue our journey in learning a beautiful language, Tagalog, the language of the Philippines. I'm gonna take a break from our usual lessons and respond to a request posted in the comment section of this channel. The request is from Ganymede. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And the request is, could you make a video explaining in what cases you'd conjugate a Tagalog verb according to tense and not aspects? Ganymede, masaya ako at nagpakita ka ng interes na matuto ng Tagalog. I'm happy that you are showing interest in learning Tagalog. This video is dedicated in responding to your request, and I will add value to your request because I will extensively compare tenses in English with aspects in Tagalog. You may know by now that verbs in Tagalog are conjugated according to aspects and not tenses. Although some materials in Tagalog learning and even some teachers of Tagalog would use the term tenses since it's easier for foreigners, particularly English speakers, to wrap their heads around the concept. In a few cases in Tagalog, tenses and aspects are similar in the sense that they describe how verbs are conjugated across a timeline. But that's not always the case. The big difference is in the point of view or perspective. Tenses in English show when in the timeline the action is playing out. Whether the action has happened, simple past tense, when the action is happening, simple present tense, or when it will happen, simple future tense. Aspect in Tagalog, on the other hand, tells what's happening with the verb or the progressiveness of the action. Whether the action has happened, is happening, or will happen. With tenses, the focus is on when an action happened. With aspects, the focus is on what's going on with the action. They're kinda the same but not quite. Let me illustrate what I mean with this English verb table. Let's take a look at the verb to eat and how it is used in the past, present, and future tenses. Take note that in English, there are different forms of these tenses, from simple to perfect progressive tenses. Let's examine each tense and see how they relate to English. But before we do that, please be sure that you are subscribed if you're still not by simply clicking on the subscribe button and the bell notification button so you'd be updated of new videos. Alright? Let's get it on with the simple past tense. We have, I ate an apple. Kumain ako ng mansanas. The Tagalog verb equivalent is the infinitive verb kumain, to eat, which is an actor-focused verb. The English sentence points to an apple, which is in Tagalog, ng mansanas. I've talked about the use of the marker ng in my review of the Tagalog case markers from episode 110 to 119. Do check it out. Kumain is the completed form which, in this example, squarely corresponds to the past tense in English. The simple present tense is, I eat an apple. Kumakain ako ng mansanas. Or, nakakain ko ang mansanas. The English sentence talks about the speaker saying that he or she regularly or habitually eats an apple. The Tagalog equivalent are the progressive forms of the infinitive verb kumain, to eat, and makain, to be able to eat. Contextually, these Tagalog verbs would approximate the meaning of the English verb to eat in the simple present tense. The simple future tense is, I will eat an apple. Kakain ako ng mansanas. Kakain is the contemplative form which in this example squarely corresponds to the future tense in English. In these examples, you can see that more or less the English past, present, and future tenses correspond to the Tagalog completed, progressive, and contemplative aspects. Although it's not the same with other tenses in English. Let's take a look at the English progressive tenses, which are used to talk about actions that are happening right now or that are ongoing and that are not yet finished. They should not be confused with the Tagalog progressive aspect. Here goes. In the English past progressive tense, we can have this. I was eating an apple when Marie came. Kumakain ako ng mansanas nang dumating si Marie. In English, I was eating conveys the progressive and unfinished action, eating, when another action occurred when Marie came. In Tagalog, we use the progressive form to convey the same idea if the action was happening in the past. Let's try the present progressive tense. I am eating an apple. Kumakain ako ng mansanas. In this example, clearly you can see that the action is currently in progress. The speaker is eating an apple. The Tagalog progressive form, kumakain, sits well in this position in the timeline. On the other hand, here's the future progressive tense. I will be eating an apple when Marie comes. Kumakain ako ng mansanas pagdating ni Marie. The English sentence says that the speaker would be in the middle of doing an action, eating an apple, when a new action happens in the future, when Marie comes. In Tagalog, this is conveyed with the progressive form of the verb, even if the action will be happening in the future. And now, let's take a look at the English past perfect, present perfect, and future perfect tenses and see how Tagalog verbs correspond. With the English perfect tense, we use two Tagalog verb equivalents to approximate the context of the English verb eaten. We use the infinitive verbs kumain, to eat, and makakain, to be able to eat. Then we add the adverb na as emphatic marker. Let's take a look at the past perfect tense in English. I had eaten an apple before Marie came. Kumain na ako ng mansanas bago dumating si Marie. I had already eaten an apple before Marie came. Nakakain na ako ng mansanas bago dumating si Marie. I was already able to eat an apple before Marie came. The past perfect tense in English is used to talk about a completed action, had eaten, that happened before another action in the past occurred, the coming of Marie. Here's the present perfect tense. I have eaten an apple already. Kumain na ako ng mansanas. Or, nakakain na ako ng mansanas. In English, the present perfect tense is used to talk about a completed action that has a connection to the present. Not so in Tagalog. The action of eating has already happened in the past. Thus, the verb is in the completed form, even if the action has a connection with the present. Let's try the future perfect tense. I will have eaten an apple by the time Marie comes. Kumain na ako ng mansanas pagdating ni Marie. Nakakain na ako ng mansanas pagdating ni Marie. The future perfect tense is used to talk about a completed action. Will have eaten, that will happen before another action in the future, the time Marie comes. As you can see, the Tagalog equivalents are all in the completed aspects. As far as Tagalog is concerned, the action occurred in the past, even if these actions are referred to in the past, in the present, or in the future. Got it? Our last set of examples are on the English perfect progressive tenses. They are used to talk about an action that started in the past, continued until now, or a specific point in time and is still ongoing. Here's the past perfect progressive tense. I had been eating an apple before Marie came. Kumakain ako ng mansanas bago dumating si Marie. The Tagalog equivalent is in the progressive aspect. So is the next example in the present progressive tense. I have been eating an apple every day. Kumakain ako ng mansanas araw-araw. Let's take a look at the last sentence in the future perfect progressive tense. I will have been eating an apple for a month before I stop. Kakain ako ng mansanas ng isang buwan bago ako tumigil. Now, let's take a look at all our tables and see any correlation. As you can see, the English verb to eat sits along a timeline, the past, present, and future. If we place the Tagalog verbs to conform with the English tenses, they will sit perfectly when compared to the English simple past, simple present, and simple future tenses. But things get weird when compared with the other English tenses. Tagalog aspects do not sit perfectly well in the English tense timeline. Tagalog verbs are built differently. Tagalog verb conjugation focuses on what is happening with the verb and not where it sits in the timeline. I hope this video answers Ganabit's question. I hope it's comprehensive enough for all of you to internalize why Tagalog verb conjugation is done through aspects and not tenses. Keep your questions coming and I'll do my best to respond to them. Normally, I will respond within 24 hours of receiving them. If I don't, then that would mean I missed the notification. But still, I will find a way to respond. That's about it for now. I hope you learned something new today, and if you did, please click on the like button because that will help this channel a lot. Alright? I will be seeing you soon. Maraming salamat po at hanggang sa susunod.